I just got this book called The Mysteries of Harris Burdick, and basically the premise of the book is that this artist, Harris Burdick, went into a publisher's or something, and he said, I've got 14 story ideas, and I'm going to give you a picture from each of them, and if you like them, I'll do this, I'll show you, I'll give you the rest of the stories then, but they contacted him and they said that they liked the pictures, and then they just never heard back from him, and he just like disappeared or whatever. So that's why it's called The Mysteries of Harris Burdick, because no one knows the stories behind these images. I don't know how much truth is behind that premise of the book. That only takes one page to say. But the rest of the book is just these 14 images that were supposedly supposed to be made into full stories that just never got to be. So like, they're quite interesting pictures. There's this man holding his chair up, about to hit this thing under the rug. And it says, under the rug, 2 weeks passed and it happened again. And you can imagine there is a story behind that, but you'll never hear the story. And there's 14 images like this, and each image is quite interesting, I think. And you can imagine a story being behind each image and so forth, but in a manner, it being like this has just left it up to the viewer to imagine a story behind the image. It's quite good. I guess if the premise of the book is true, that there was an artist who handed in these images and then never returned, then I guess maybe you could question the morality of them publishing this book of the 14 images he, showed them. Because obviously, I know it's credited to Harris Burdick on the cover, but if they've lost him and they can't contact him, then he's obviously not in the loop about this as much, whatever, royalties or whatever. But I know art isn't about the royalties and such, but they'll be making money off this book, and he won't, even though he did the images, if that's a correct premise. But in another way, it's good that the world still gets to see these images, if the premise is correct. All 14 images, they're all grayscale, I guess, black and white, and quite an interesting way to work. I wondered if, being in this way, people would take more notice than if the stories existed, because if there was 14 stories that existed and they were all in this grayscale manner and they were just like a selection of 14 books, would people go, oh, that's a nice story, and then just move on because there's loads of stories in the world? Or because you only get one image from each story in this manner, you have to make up the rest of the story yourself, or imagine what it could have been, or think about the mysteriousness of this and so forth. Which I guess if the stories existed in a readable way, then you wouldn't get to do that. You'd just have the story. Whereas since it's a mystery, it's a bit of a talking point, isn't it? I guess what it could be. About what each story could have been, whether or not the mystery is right or not, all of that. We don't know. It's just for the potential. Each image is just the potential of a story rather than the story itself, and that's something to think about, I guess.